Ted, the leadership of Florida State is pissed.
Yep.
They are not pleased with their situation in the ACC, and they apparently all got together and said, we're going to let everyone know about it. I'm not entirely sure what their strategy is, but just a reminder, the ACC, they implemented a kind of a more you eat what you kill type of conference distribution structure, tried to make some people a little more happy, but that clearly isn't doing it for Florida State's president and their board of trustees. Got a couple of fun quotes for you, Ted, from that
Okay.
meeting, which anyone could watch, by the way. Florida State President Richard McCullough, quote, I believe Florida State will have to, at some point, consider very seriously leaving the ACC unless there were a radical change to the revenue distribution. And then AD Michael Alford had this to say regarding the grant of rights. We have a great understanding of what opportunities there are in that document, how that document could hold us back, but also what the opportunities are.
Hmm.
We've been told for a while that this thing is ironclad, right? When it comes to this ACC grant of rights that runs all the way through 2036. But it appears Florida State's leadership feels differently, I guess. I don't know. I'm kind of confused by their strategy. I don't know what they're going for here.
Yeah. I don't know. I don't know enough about the deal other than even as dumb as I am, whenever they signed it, I knew it was stupid to sign it for that long. But I don't know, because it's interesting. The person on the other end of it, you've got your teams, but you also have your television partners. Like, I wonder what they think about it. Do they feel like it's beneficial? Like they could get more out of Florida State somewhere else, and if that's the case, would they be willing to help this situation happen?
This is where I become very skeptical about them getting out of this. Now they're going to get out of it eventually, right? But we just saw OU and Texas have to wait a couple years and then pay what, $50 million each?
Yeah,
to get out 1 year early. This thing runs to 2036.
Crazy.
And everything I saw, like the reports say that they would have to pay $120 million exit fee. And then remember, if they go to a new conference, unless they win a court battle against the ACC when it comes to the grant of rights, whatever money they make has to go to the ACC because that's what it says under the grant of rights. So that's where it gets very confusing to me. I'm not exactly sure how all of that would work, but it's clear. Florida State's leadership, and rightfully so, they're very concerned with the revenue gap that's about to be in place in college football. And they said it. It's not going to be this way in the next couple of years, but down the line, they're going to be making approximately $30 million less each year than teams in the Big Ten and the SEC. That adds up, man. I mean, you're talking 5 years here.
Really quickly.
Yeah, you're talking 5 years. And remember, I'll say it again, it runs through 2036. And remember, the SEC and Big Ten will re-up again before this deal for the ACC is up. So the gap is only going to get larger. So that's where I get the concern, right? When you start doing the math, you're like, damn, yeah, that's a lot to overcome, right? Because that's recruiting, facilities, recovery, like that's staff, that's all of it. Coaches' salaries.
It's
That's
insurmountable to be competitive.
And that's the word they used. Like,
Yeah.
It is insurmountable. So part of me thinks Florida State took this approach just to see if they could get anyone else on board. I do think a lot of it is they're just letting their fans know they're trying.
Yeah.
Like, hey, we realize what's going on here? We're trying, guys. Like, I think that could be part of it as well, but I don't know who they're trying to get to go with it. I don't know, but they feel like they're stuck in a very shitty situation.
I mean, and this is what happens whenever you get in a football conference with a bunch of basketball schools. You know, you get all these folks in a room and ESPN waves a little bit of money in front of these schools. They're like, holy shit, let's do it. How long do you, let's sign for 50 years if we can. Right? I mean, come on. I bet whenever that thing was over, ESPN walked out of there and they were laughing their asses off. Are you kidding me? College football has been on a rocket ship up, and the ACC is going to lock themselves into 2036. It's ridiculous.
I don't know exactly how it happened, and I get it. It seems like cable and streaming, there was a bit of a crossroads, and they're like, hey, we want the long-term stability. It turned out to be a very bad decision. And as far as the Florida State situation, like, do they even have another conference lined up? I mean, they're making all of this noise, but I don't know about you. I haven't heard of the Big Ten or the SEC or anyone be like, hey, yeah, come on. There have been no rumblings. It's a huge brand. They would be in demand, but no one's touching this deal right now, dude.
I think the SEC would quickly scoop up. They'd probably take the names I've heard: Florida State, Clemson, North Carolina, and Virginia.
North Carolina feels like a very Big Ten school to me. Really good school. It feels very Big Ten-ish.
Yeah, no, I agree. But, you know, there's going to be a battle there because they add in Florida State, you're adding the brand. North Carolina is a big brand too, but with North Carolina, Virginia, you're adding TV markets.
Yeah.
You know, Clemson, you're adding a brand. It's not really a TV market, but if you can get North Carolina and Virginia, that gets you into a different television market. So I don't know. Who knows? I don't think anyone's going to say a whole lot about any ACC school until there looks like there's some type of crack in that grant of right still. Like the SEC is not going to act like, oh, we're on board. Yeah, we'd love to have them until it ever looks like there's even a chance you could do it.
Yeah, you don't want to look like you meddled in any of that to where you open yourself up to any type of litigation if you're one of these other conferences. You're avoiding that situation like the plague. But you mentioned ESPN, like they've got Florida State on a great deal. Why would they want to help them get out of the ACC?
Well,
especially with everything that's going on with their parent company, right? And especially ESPN, all the layoffs they've had, like they're going to throw Florida State a bone. I don't know.
The only reason, and I don't know enough of how all of this works, but to get them in more games that people are interested in, like to be in the SEC. I mean, because it looks to me like TV partners want more good games, fewer filler content. There's a bunch of bad games in college football, and ESPN and Fox, they have to broadcast all of them. And a lot of them are just flat out, call it what it is. They are not revenue producers, but you get the right schools and the right conferences, consolidate that. You have a fewer games that you broadcast, but a lot more eyeballs on those games. Like that's the way I view it. Now, would that ever happen? Would they help them? I don't know.
I went and played. Were you on the radio call for that game?
What one?
When we went down to Tallahassee?
No.
Oh, what was that? 2000. You're still playing.
11.
It's 2011
or 10. Was it 10?
We whooped their ass in 2010 in Norman.
Okay.
That was Christian Ponder's Heisman hopes went downhill real quick.
Nice.
But 2011, I'll say this. Was it Doak Campbell?
Yep.
That's an SEC type place to go play.
Right. Yeah.
That place, it was
That's the
by
thing, man.
far the loudest place I ever played in college. That place was nuts. So I, for one, welcome the Seminoles to the SEC. As a long-standing member of the SEC, the Oklahoma Sooners, we welcome
Let me be
the
the
Noles.
first to welcome you in.
Dude, I'll say this, man. I don't like a lot of this. I
Yeah.
don't. I love the regionality of college football. I think it's something that makes it extremely special. But my hope is that this all results in us getting to watch better football games.
Yeah.
And as OU guys, like we're in the cool kid club. So that's where, I don't know, it's weird sitting and watching all of this unfold now and just not really having to worry about anything. Like, I can't imagine what an Oregon State fan feels like right now, or a former player there. So like, that's gotta be really tough, man.
But it's also hard as a Florida State fan because we know how they feel to play Duke and NC State and Virginia, and that's your home slate, and you watch everyone else play the big time games and making all the money, and you're getting left behind, right?
Yeah.
We were in those shoes too.
Yeah. So just all of it's weird. I don't know if I like it. I'm not sure. All I know is OU's in a good spot. So podcast is going to keep rolling, baby.
We are rolling.